Have you ever had one of those weeks? I have. It was last Tuesday. So over the course of the weekend, my truck broke down, and a friend of mine diagnosed that the problem was the starter. So that's not a big issue, he says. On Tuesday, I'll come over and I'll help you remove the old one, and we'll go with the wrecker and pick up a used one, and we'll replace it. So that sounded like a pretty good idea to me, and certainly an affordable way of getting things done. So we replaced the starter, put the new one on, and turned the truck over, and the battery explodes in the truck. So he says not to worry, we'll just go back down to the wrecker and we'll pick up a used battery, which is great. So we went down, and they're quite affordable. We picked up a used battery and came back home. Put it in, started it, everything was fine. I get into the house and go down to my office to do some work preparing for this coming weekend. And my wife calls me and says, Andrew, come on upstairs. So I came upstairs. She said, fix it, pointing to the kitchen sink. Oh my goodness. So the sink has now clogged for the third or fourth time since Christmas. And yeah, I'm a little bit frustrated because I really don't know what I'm doing to fix it. So I determined I'd go over to Canadian Tire and get a snake this time. Maybe that would solve my problem. If I could snake the line 25 feet in, gotta fix the problem. So I go over to Canadian Tire, find the snake. $20 I didn't want to spend, but nonetheless, I came out to the truck to get in the truck and drive home, and there's this puddle of liquid sitting underneath my truck. So, as you can imagine, I was a little frustrated. It was coolant. So I go home, I fix the sink, and it does fix. Just snaking it out right at the end, it managed to clear the clog. So I put the thing back in the vehicle, and I decide I'm going back over to Canadian Tire, and I'm going to buy a can of that stop leak stuff and fix the truck. Well, unfortunately, it was the water pump, and I had to replace the water pump the next morning. So, why on earth do I tell you this story? You got to understand something about me and mechanics. I get it, and I understand and appreciate the value of a good mechanic, because quite honestly, I really don't know how to fix anything to do with cars. I think the most talented thing I've done once is cut off a muffler and replace that. I think I also have changed some tires. But other than that, I really don't know much of what to do. So we're putting the new battery in the vehicle, and I put on the terminal like I'm supposed to. But I hold the battery terminal and I put the thing up against it. Then I grab my vice grips that don't have any rubber insulators on it. And I start cranking on the thing, and I put on the negative terminal. Everything's fine. And I go to put on the positive terminal, and I go and hold the battery cable up, and I start cranking on it again to get the thing to go on. And it won't go on. It just won't catch properly. And my buddy's looking at me and he says, Andrew, what's wrong with you? And I said, well, what do you mean what's wrong with me? Well, just grab hold of the battery and start the thing with your finger. I said, are you crazy? That's electricity. I'm scared of electricity. I'm not going to do that. He says, Andrew, you're holding a metal wrench. A metal wrench. It's a conductor of electricity. It's an excellent conductor of electricity. If you're going to get shocked, you're going to get shocked through the metal wrench. Don't worry about it. Just grab hold of it and turn it. And I said to him, actually, Keith, you don't understand. I know that I'm not going to get shocked. I get the fact that I'm not going to get burned by touching the thing and starting it, which would be way more easy. But my fear of doing that cripples me so badly that I can't touch that bolt. Seriously. I know, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And for those of you who are watching this who understand mechanics and understand about electricity, you'll get how silly this is for me. But I can't do it. Well, I had to stop and think for a moment. And it reminded me of what faith is all about. In fact, it reminds me about what it is that I preach. You know, there's a huge difference between knowing in my head something that I ought to do something that I should do, a way that I should walk, a person that I should believe in, a God who loves me and cares for me. There is a huge difference between knowing that and putting that into practice. You see, knowing it gives me a great place in my head where I can be assured during the good times that I am safe. But when the rough times come, when the difficult times come, when you have to connect power to the battery terminal of life, mere knowledge doesn't do anything. It won't get me anywhere. You see, unless I connect that terminal, unless I grab hold of that terminal and physically put into action that which I've said I believe in, man, I've gotten nowhere. So I just thought about how important this is for us and our faith journey. There are some things that we know are true, that we understand are true about God and who He is. And we need to put those things into action. But if we don't, as the writer in the New Testament said, faith without works, it's dead.